Yes, it's all signed, sealed and delivered. Man United have a new manager after paying Ruben Amorim's €10 million release clause. Much has been said, much has been done in the last week, but the already former Sporting coach has announced his decision to take over Man United, with his debut expected to take place after the international break. And that leaves us with the question, what's next for Man United? Can the Red Devils finally return to the glory days? We will explore all this in our totally objective and unbiased analysis on one of the most impressive coaches in Europe in the last 4 years. Why impressive? Well, you'll find out by the end, so stay tuned. First, let's start with the end of yet another managerial era at Old Trafford. Much like David Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Jose Mourinho, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, tons of interim coaching periods, Erik ten Hag is the next name with big ambitions to fail to bring the golden years back to the red half of Manchester. £600 million in transfers, plenty of drama, controversy, and even arrogance went down the drain, but Ten Hag couldn't work the magic. As a result, Man United fans were treated to uninspiring football, the worst ever Premier League finish, and a Champions League group stage exit during the Dutchman's 2.5 years at the helm. Oh, and how could we forget the League and FA Cup triumphs that might serve as some consolation for the fans, but certainly not for Ten Hag, who could easily be remembered as one of the biggest villains to have led Man United in this almost 12-year nightmare era since Sir Alex Ferguson. This led to the appointment of the 39-year-old Amorim, who has an excellent record so far. Talking about his early months in the job, he actually already experienced Man United's greatness when he spent a week at Carrington when Jose Mourinho was in charge. He then spent the next year with the third-tier side Casa Pia, and in January 2020 got snapped up by Braga, a spell that lasted only 2 months. Yes, that's right, Amorim was in charge for 60 days because he was just too good for Braga. So, after winning the League Cup and not losing a single league game, was bought by Sporting in March, who paid his €10 million release clause. Well, if you're still not convinced of Amorim's qualities, I can assure you that there are only a few managers in history who have been paid 2 release clauses in the space of 5 years, each worth €10 million, especially for a 39-year-old. As for his time in Lisbon, it was nothing short of spectacular. The club's directors were overconfident in his abilities, but the fans hadn't even heard of him. Nevertheless, he did the unthinkable, leading Sporting to their first Premier League title in 19 years. And he did it on a shoestring budget, relying mainly on young talents like Nuno Mendes and Pedro Gonçalves. Gonçalves' goal-scoring prowess was certainly one of the stories of the 2020-21 campaign, as he netted a staggering 23 times. Mendes stepped into the role of electrifying attacking fullback, while Gonçalo Inácio held the back line with coolness. Overall, Amorim's time at Sporting has been spectacular for 2 reasons. He had absolutely no experience at the top level in Portugal. Yes, those 2 months in Braga could hardly be called experience. And the other was that his work with the youngsters was something completely unprecedented for a coach of his stature. In a team like Sporting, who hadn't won a league title in almost 2 decades, and that is probably what Man United need at the moment, with young jewels like Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho and Lenny Yoro, etc. The difference is that Amorim, although still in his 30s, has already got experience. He won 2 league titles and 2 league cups in 4 seasons at Sporting. But the burning question remains. As we all remember, Erik ten Hag had a similar reputation when he arrived at Old Trafford, but we all saw what happened next. First of all, we can be sure that Ruben Amorim will work in silence without great expectations after the huge hopes placed in the Dutchman. And to be honest, this is probably the perfect atmosphere to be working in when we talk about a giant like Man United. And rest assured that Amorim himself feels that this is the time to show the world what he is capable of. And well, he certainly has the perfect conditions to do so. Now, as much as the Red Devils fans may not like it, what was the biggest problem during Ten Hag's reign? Well, it was the fact that the Dutchman was under pressure from the old board to deliver results. And in defense of his insane arrogance, which he has shown on many occasions over the last 2 years, he really had no choice but to adopt a style of play that produced positive results. Not the fluent and attractive style we all got used to during his time at Ajax, but the style that was winning him games. His problem was that this attractive style just needed more time for a fast-paced competition like the Premier League. But just when he started to use it at the beginning of the season, it was all or nothing for Ten Hag, and he simply failed. But on to the good news. Ruben Amorim certainly won't have that problem because his style has been proven over time in a fast-paced league like the Portuguese. And besides, the coach won't need any big blockbuster signings to build his squad and style of play around. And the reason for this is that most of these players are already in the team, with Manuel Ugarte being one of them. The Uruguayan defensive midfielder was signed from PSG in the summer but has played just over 100 minutes in the Premier League so far, making just one start. The way things are going though, Ugarte is one of the happiest people at Old Trafford at the moment with the arrival of Amorim. The pair enjoyed a brilliant relationship in Portugal between 2021 and 2023, and Ugarte could now be in line for a starting spot. Before opting for a move to PSG, the Uruguayan embodied the vital role of holding midfielder in Amorim's system. He anchored the defence, broke up the opposition's play and distributed the ball with vision. His ability to shield the back line and launch counter-attacks was essential, providing defensive security and a launching pad for quick transitions. On the other hand, he is always paired with a more technical midfielder, but it remains to be seen what Amorim's approach will be at Man United, and whether he will play Bruno Fernandes or Mason Mount alongside Ugarte, or whether Kobe Manu will take that role. Regardless, Casemiro's days at Old Trafford are certainly numbered after Amorim's arrival. Another key ingredient that fits perfectly into Amorim's 3-4-3 tactical shape is the defensive line. I can't remember the last time Man United played with three at the back, and it will take some getting used to. But hey, not even a single fan would complain about this if it works. And the potential for it to give positive results is actually quite high. Firstly, let's assume that Man United have all of their best players 100% fit. In such a scenario, the best centre-back trio would be Lisandro Martinez, Matthias de Ligt and Lenny Euro, with Luke Shaw and Diogo Dalot complementing them at fullback. Interestingly, the best thing about this formation is that the heart of the defence, de Ligt, has recently played in this system at Bayern Munich, and the Dutchman would likely take on the role of central sweeper, using his ball-playing skills to orchestrate build-up play from the back. Martinez and Euro, who both thrive under pressure, would be tasked with moving into midfield or covering the flanks to provide flexibility against the opposition's attackers. Shaw and Dalot, on the other hand, would provide width in attack, stretching the field and delivering crosses, and also dropping back to support the back line in defensive phases. Their dynamism would allow United to switch quickly between the attacking 3-4-3 and a more compact 5-3-2. Of course, Shaw and Dalot would also be fundamental to the pressing that would become the number one priority when United lose possession. As for the attacking line, Rasmus Højlund and Alejandro Garnacho will be crucial. Of course, Marcus Rashford is also likely to start, but he really needs to find his rhythm, and he won't have a better opportunity to do so. In Amorim's system at Man United, this attacking trio could offer a mix of pace, creativity and relentless pressure on the opposition defence. Rashford and Garnacho would operate as inverted wingers, cutting in from the flanks to exploit the half space, constantly driving at defenders and looking for quick links with midfielders Bruno and Manu. It is a role that suits Rashford's powerful runs and Garnacho's agile footwork particularly well, making them dual threats as both scorers and creators in the fast-paced football that Amorim loves to implement. The most important of the three, however, is the striker. Yes, we named Højlund, but Joshua Zirkzee could also fill that role. However, given the Dane's athleticism and similar style of play to Gyökeres, he would be the more likely option for the position. Like Gyökeres, Højlund will need to disrupt the opposition's build-up play with aggressive pressing, while using his physicality and off-ball movement to draw defenders out of position and open channels for Rashford and Garnacho. Man United's interest of Gyökeres, of course, hasn't been ruled out, especially if Højlund or Zirkzee's form doesn't improve. According to reports, his release clause sits somewhere around $60 and $100 million. Whether this will be Man United's saviour or another coach with glamorous figures, only time will tell. But one thing is certain, having the highest win percentage of any team across Europe's top 10 leagues since March 2020 is something absolutely remarkable. And Amorim will be proud to swap Sporting with Man United and succeed, much like Cristiano Ronaldo, Luis Nani and Bruno Fernandes. Now, there is only one thing missing, and that is your opinion. How do you think Amorim will start his period at Man United? Text us in the comments down below, and also don't forget to give us a like and subscribe for more related content. Bye for now, and until the next time.